conclude our Salt Lake City Mayor Canada Profiles now with Richard Goldberger. Richard, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being here.
My privilege to have you, sir.
Good to have you here as well. Let's talk about your background first. What is it that you have done in your personal and professional life that you believe qualifies you for the position of leading Utah's capital city?
Well, I'm a journalist by profession, been that way most of my life. I do consulting, and I have a gift. I have a very good mind. And I think that's significant. I don't like what I see in politics, and I like Salt Lake City. And
talk more about that. What is it that you don't like what you see in politics?
Well, in my opinion, the problem with politics is politicians. They want your vote, and they want your money, and in between, don't bother us, we're too busy. And I think the public wants action. They want government that works for them. And I'll give you an example. If I'm elected mayor, I'd have a mobile office that would spend a lot of time in the neighborhoods. In other words, I conduct the business of mayor, not so much at City Hall, but I bring City Hall out to the neighborhoods, whether it's Sweetown, Glendale, Ensign area, all over the different neighborhoods in the city, because I think it's very important to bring the office of the mayor to the city rather than have the city, the individuals come to City Hall. I want to bring City Hall. I want to make this a very people-oriented, how would one say?
Administration.
Administration, yes, of course.
What do you see as the biggest challenge to Salt Lake City over the next 4 years, and why do you think you're the best person equipped to handle that?
Well, there are a number of challenges, sir. I think I'd like to address right now the major controversy, the inland port. And my feelings are as follows. Number one, we should stop the litigation. It's going to be very, very expensive, and it's going to go on for a long time. We should have perhaps arbitration. That would be nice. Two, I'd like to see the port, the expansion of the Port Authority go to Wendover, Utah, which is an incredible place for an intermodal hub. It has a fantastic airport, space, rail. This is the wrong area to do that. It's a very sensitive area, the Northwest Corridor. It's relicted land, and it's going to be very, it's not cheap to build there. Look at what's happening in the state prison.
I've heard some people say maybe Tooele County, in the Grantsville, Tooele area, but I haven't heard anyone say Wendover, Utah.
Well, Wendover's a perfect place. We have this incredible airport that was from World War II, of course.
But is it big enough to handle all that would come into an inland port?
Big enough. Big enough. It could handle 10 inland ports. It's an incredible place. Space. Gazillions of acres of space. And that's what you need, and it has a road and rail hub. It's a fantastic logistical, how would one say, it's a logistical hub. I mean, it works.
Okay, so you say get out of the lawsuit. What would be the role of the mayor moving forward if you get out of the lawsuit?
Well, I think the area should be developed. Two things. We should have something I call the UXX, the Utah Export Expo, a permanent Utah product trade show that runs 24/7, 365, as the world works 24/7, 365. And this would promote Utah products here. It would also have a Utah product museum. That's very nice. And in addition, I would like to see a nice nature conservatory, a parkway. It's a very special ecological area, this Northwest Corridor. And again, I want to cite to you, when we building the prison out at 7200 West, the land, it's not a good land for heavy development. We're going to have cost overruns. We're having them. It's going to be in the hundreds of millions of dollars. It's not cheap to kind of stabilize the land. And this is a big problem. So this area would not, it would be very expensive to do what we have in Clearfield, a Freeport type of intermodal facility.
Let's talk about immigration. Salt Lake City Police Department and the mayor have both said they will not enforce immigration policy. Would you stand by that? Do you believe like that's the right way to go?
Well, yes, I think that we have to be very careful here. We have to be very careful indeed. We're dealing with refugees from other countries that are fleeing because of political persecution. I mean, I'll give you an example. In World War II, the Jews, and I happen to was born Jewish, fled. I mean, they're people who flee for legitimate reasons. And a lot of these folks, too, are fleeing for economic reasons, and yet we need to reintegrate the Bracero program back in the 1960s and 70s, which was very nice. We need to have a controlled immigration. But the people that are here, if they're not criminals, if they behave themselves, that's good because they're paying taxes and they're being very nice.
What about homelessness? Big impact on the capital city. Do you support Operation Rio Grande? How that happened, and what about moving forward?
Well, first of all, Operation Rio Grande has cost over $100 million, sir. And what we have is this incredible diaspora of people outward bound, not only throughout the city but throughout the county and other counties. And it's a cancer. It's a cancer on the community. They're living wherever they want. They defecate wherever they want. This is a public health emergency.
So what role should the city play then?
Okay, the city should do two things. Number one, a campus, a human resource campus, should be prepared like a fire camp for a wildfire. It takes a couple days to have a full-service wildfire campus for the firefighters. This would be a triage campus, and it would have a detention facility too, and I would have massive outreach to say, look, you cannot illegally camp in the city. Under my administration, no, there will be no illegal camping. I will have a hideous stick, but some very nice carrots, because I see what's happening to other cities. I see what's happening to Salt Lake. What I call this is a social service emergency. Let's make no bounds about it. The governor doesn't think so. As the reporter interviewed the governor, sir, would you declare an emergency in this situation? No. I call these folks domestic American refugees. Domestic refugees, they're refugees, American refugees, and we have to deal with them. They're human beings. And this is not Utah Les Mis, the Miserables. This is not Utah's Untouchables. These are human beings who need help. Some are clinically ill, some are mentally ill, and some are addictive. And we have to treat these people.
All right. That is about all the time we have.
Wow.
People can learn more. Yeah, it goes by fast, right? People can learn more about you by going to Facebook and searching Goldberger for mayor of Salt Lake City.
Yes.
All right.
And also GoFundMe.
All right. Thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it. And we will see how this plays out over the next couple of weeks.
I think it's great. I want to thank you.
Coming up next, we'll be breaking down this race with the Hinckley Institute of Politics. Stay with us.